Hi. Well, here we are with the third essay of the semester, the Modernism Essay Prompt. Choose one of the following topics and construct an argumentative essay based on research and your own close reading of the primary text. Okay, so here we are with modernism. First of all, the first question gives you some options. How does the poetry of either W.B., William Butler, Yeats, or T.S., Thomas Stearns, Eliot demonstrate the characteristics of modernism as an intellectual and artistic movement? You may cite our textbook when establishing a definition of modernism. You are required to engage at least 2 works from the syllabus by your chosen author. So 2 works by Yeats or 2 works by Eliot. And of course, in Eliot's case, there are only 2 works, so you'll have to engage with both of them. Next question. Using one of the short stories from our syllabus, argue how James Joyce employs the concept of epiphany. What is the purpose and effect of his use? Be sure to define the term as a literary concept early in your essay. Next question. What does the stream of consciousness narration in Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf suggest about human consciousness or identity? How does this technique affect the role of time in the novel? Okay, so Mrs. Dalloway, it's a novel, it's a very challenging novel, partly because of the writing technique that Virginia Woolf uses, which we call stream of consciousness. So I want you to engage that in this question. Final question. Choose one of the modernist authors from the syllabus. That would be, of course, Yeats, Eliot, Joyce, and Woolf. Argue how he or she uses contemporary affairs, history, religion, artistic or literary tradition, and or other manifestations of culture to create works that are pregnant with new meaning. So this is really kind of an open-ended question in one sense, right? You get to choose the author, you get to explore about modernism and that particular author. The paper is due to be submitted to Canvas by Monday, July 31st, 11:59 p.m. Be sure to follow the out-of-class essay guidelines for matters of form and style. Use correct MLA documentation as described in the MLA format handout, the MLA for Literature class handout, and or the MLA handbook 9th edition itself. Okay, and I do want to say I've seen some pretty sloppy MLA in this class, and if you're an English major, as most of you are, you need to do better with this. Okay, we need to be a little bit more cognizant of the professional format that is used so that you can employ it with competence in the future. I don't expect perfection, but holy cow, I do want to have a little bit of confidence there in what you're doing. Be sure to include a word count at the end of your essay. Okay, so you remember you must meet minimum requirements, including word count, sources, and subject. No late essays will be accepted without a verifiable medical or legal excuse. So, in other words, stay healthy, stay out of court. Minimum requirements. At least 1,000 words to approximately 1,400, although, of course, that upper end is pretty flexible. The lower end is not so flexible because, to be honest, if you're not getting at least 1,000 words out of this essay, you're not really engaged. Citations from at least 4 different sources. One of the sources must be the primary text, in other words, Mrs. Dalloway or Araby by James Joyce, or whichever work you choose. That's the primary text. And in case many of these questions, you might have more than one, right? So in other words, with T.S. Eliot or William Butler Yeats. 2 of your sources must be scholarly works, such as dissertations, peer-reviewed journal articles, or excerpt from University Press books. Now, again, I want to point out that we've had a little difficulty in some quarters getting scholarly work. keep in mind, we're talking about peer-reviewed materials, not just anything with a .edu suffix, because a lot of those are just simply essays written in classes just like ours that have been posted for people to find, which probably shouldn't be used. Okay, so go to JSTOR, go to the EBSCOhost database that we have at the Mesa College LRC. Right, these are all available, of course, online. Now, the fourth source can be a source of your own choosing, but that doesn't mean it can be a bad source. It must be a credible analytical source in its own right. So you can find something that isn't technically peer-reviewed material, but it still has to be credible. Okay, and I have, how should I put it? I have some standards. So again, not just anything posted anywhere is credible. The textbook only counts as a primary text, although you may certainly use its editorial materials in your essay. For instance, when defining modernism or defining epiphany, that kind of thing. And as always, you may have more than these four sources, but always make sure they're good sources. MLA format and presentation and documentation, I've already talked about that. It needs definitely to be improved by many of you, including correct in-text documentation and works cited. Using any other format will lower your grade significantly. So if I continue to see APA format sneaking in, or just whatever mishmash you're using, that is definitely going to have an effect. So let's get back on MLA. That is the documentation standard for English as a subject area. Okay, so there we go. If you have any questions, please contact me through the Canvas inbox system or by my district email account. Take care.